What if I told you that shame around your debt and spending and past choices is causing more damage to your finances than the debt is itself? If you are carrying around shame about the debt, the spending choices that you've made, or regret around decisions that you've made in the past, this episode is going to be just for you. It's going to help you shift your relationship with debt, and it's going to uncover the one key aspect that so many of my clients finally unlock and they feel like they can move forward with peace, power. We see so many things change when we make this one shift around our debt and our spending. Ready? Let's get to it. Welcome back to the Your Money, Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Amy Circa. Today we are talking about debt and shame around our past spending choices. We're in kind of a mini series here talking about money mindset. So we really laid the foundational work last week, talked a lot about what money mindset is, how it's formed, give you a quick exercise that you had to do in an intentional manner, not just, checking things off of our to-do list. But today we are challenging probably one of the biggest beliefs that I hear and that I see when it comes to your finances and debt and spending. And essentially this, we feel, or I'll say we, yeah, but so many of us feel that we should feel guilty about our debt. That means that you made poor choices, that you failed. And a lot of that comes from societal programming, which we talked a little bit about last week. Again, there's so many influences that are out there saying that if you're in debt, debt is bad, debt is evil, you need to do whatever it takes to get out of debt. You made all these choices, like what is wrong with you? We hear all of those things shouted at us again and again and again and again. Okay. But there's a couple things that we're going to uncover shift here that shows you why that is not true. Okay. When you're in debt, couple things that I see when we have this lens that we end up doing and that actually causes more harm for your finances. Okay. The first thing is we just avoid looking at our numbers. Whether this is we're just looking at the bank account and we're not actually budgeting, we don't have a money management system in place personally, business, both, right? Like they're both there. Okay. We avoid looking at the debt numbers because even if we're using a strategy like the debt roll down method and some of those things that I recommend, and we'll put a link in the show notes. We've talked about like the best debt payoff method. So you can check out that episode, but make sure you stick through this one first because you need the foundational piece before we can talk about the strategy of how you pay off your debt. Okay. So you can use those things. Smart strategy to have, right? But when we just give that as a resource, and I was actually reviewing some client feedback, voice of client things in the last week or so, and there's a client coming to mind, and she came to me, and she only wanted the budgeting for success worksheets, which includes the debt roll down method, the debt payoff, like it has that in there, and it's a great resource. But the problem is she only wanted the resource. So in her feedback, I could see where she didn't have the training and the things that she actually needed to be able to implement it. It was there. I offered it to her, but she didn't take it. And I saw where the transformation didn't take place because we just stopped with the strategy. So we avoid looking at our numbers, whether that's your business budget, personal budget, don't really have a budget, debt numbers. We don't look at the debt numbers. Another way that's becoming more and more common that I've seen is we're automating things. Okay. We've got all these rules set up in QuickBooks so that you don't actually have to like look at the numbers, which you really do need to look at the numbers, but we feel like we don't need to because, hey, we've got the automations working for us. Didn't really work. Another habit or another thing that I see us do when we're feeling the shame about our spending is again with that avoidance, but it's like I'll deal with it when I make more money. I can't do it right now. We'll take care of this later. I'm just putting it off. I'm not looking at it. I'm not doing those things. The problem is you're still holding on to the guilt that you feel about that spending, that debt, those decisions that you've made. And we're trying to punish ourselves. And this could also be, like impulse spending. Maybe you're an Amazon shopper or something else. You have that habit that you've impulse spent in the past and you've done those things. And maybe there's debt around that. Or maybe it's just the decisions. You've spent more. You don't necessarily have to be in debt, but a large part of the thing that we see is around debt. Okay. That's what we're talking about here. Um, we also use that guilt as like a self punishment, almost like we're sacrificing ourselves isn't the right word, but it's a punishment that we put on ourselves because it's like, I have to figure out this first in order to earn that support. I have to do this thing to be able to have the help with this. I have to clean up my numbers before I can have a bookkeeper. I've heard that multiple times. I have to hit this revenue goal in my business before I could hire a business coach, before I could hire a financial coach. Like we feel like we have to do this on our own to fix the problem. This is like cleaning before the maid comes, right? We're trying to fix all these things. We have to do it ourselves, make it all pretty, all neat before we can accept the help. That's not really how things work, right? So I know you don't want to feel guilty about the debt, right? You don't want to feel the shame. You want to be able to trust yourself to make a decision with your finances, whether it's investing in a program or something else, and know that you're not doing it out of FOMO and you're doing it from an aligned place. It's actually the right decision from you. You're not operating out of that fear and the scarcity, because who wants to operate like that? And then we do want to get rid of the debt, right? Like we want it to be gone, but we want that progress, that support, the financial progress, those things, we want it to actually last, because so many times we end up that we yo-yo finance. Have you heard of yo-yo dieting? This is why we don't work. We don't focus on our debt payoff. Okay. Before we get into the specifics on that, though, if you're ready to stop letting guilt and shame run the show, make sure you grab my money mindset playbook. It's absolutely free. Today is only scratching the surface of what we cover inside the playbook, and it's going to help you start shifting those beliefs and emotions around money, debt, so many different things beyond, so that you can feel clear, be aligned, make these decisions from a place of clarity and strength, not fear and stress and overwhelm, or things that aren't even really actually your beliefs. Simply head to amycirca.com/mindset. And of course, that link's going to be hanging out in the show notes for you as well. Now, let's talk about why we don't focus on our debt payoff. I started to say, we yo-yo finance, okay? So yo-yo dieting. Have you gone on a diet before? And the whole time you're on the diet, you're doing good. You look good. You're losing the weight, all the things, right? So you've lost the weight, but then the diet ends and that chocolate chip cookie or the chocolate cake or whatever it might be, you don't like chocolate. It's the appealing chocolate chip cookie this whole time that you eat it, right? And over time, what happens? Because we went on this hardcore focus, this sprint, we end up that we gain all the weight back and then some. Normally we gain more, right? So we're starting off in a worse spot again because we did not build a sustainable habit. It was a binge fix. We tried to fix it. It didn't work. We are building a lifestyle of financial literacy, of unstoppable finances, of an unstoppable life, unstoppable business, all those things that we do inside the Unstoppable Experience, right? That's the goal here. It's not a quick fix. And that's really what my client who grabbed the Budgeting for Success worksheets, which are fantastic, they work. But the strategy there, the tool alone, was not fixing the problem because we didn't address where we were at, the habit, the lifestyle. Okay. The solution is really rather quite simple. There's a couple things here we're going to cover. But the first thing, instead of focusing on paying off your debt, we're going to focus on your net worth, because your net worth is your true financial picture of where you're at. As you pay off debt, your net worth is going to grow. As you grow assets in your business, in your personal life, all of those things, your net worth is going to grow. So it's reflected on both sides. It's the true financial picture of where you're at. So yes, we have the tactical strategy to pay off the debt, but that's not the focus. The focus is your net worth. All right. Second thing. Now we've got the shift in the focus. Let's talk about, like, that's the action step moving forward. And then we've got a couple things here that we got to talk about because debt is a loaded word, right? The feeling guilty and the shame and everything that you're carrying around from this decision that you've made in the past. Whether it was a right or wrong decision, it doesn't matter. The point is, this decision is in the past. There is absolutely nothing you can do in this moment to change that. Okay? Nothing you can do to change it. So why are you wasting energy, mind space, happiness? You're letting it steal your happiness in life because of a decision that you've made in the past that you absolutely cannot change. There's no point in that. What we can do now, moving forward, is we work on our mindset, we work on our the energetics piece, the integration, so you can stand firm in your personal power and make decisions moving forward from a place of confidence instead of the scarcity and the lack and the fear and all those things show up. Okay, that's the first thing you can do, right? The second thing, and this is a very powerful exercise, especially if you have like a bigger purchase, maybe it was a program you invested in and it wasn't really quite the right fit. Now, I absolutely believe you should honor obligations. So if you purchase something and you're still paying on it and it wasn't the right thing and you've realized that, absolutely go through this exercise. But from an energetic perspective, we're doing this from a place of integrity and honoring the commitments that we've made, right? Okay. But if you've made a purchase that you regret, right? Or you feel like it wasn't the aligned fit, whatever that might be, I want you to go through and write down 5 things where it was a benefit. How could this be a pivotal moment in your story, in the movie of your life? That moment where things change and that comeback starts. What was that moment for you? What did this purchase allow for you to do? What were the benefits of it? What did you learn? Did you learn the difference between being forced into a decision out of FOMO and standing in your personal power? Did you learn that you don't want to operate that way? It was very clear to you, that's not how I operate my business. That's not how I want to operate. What was it? And this might take a little bit of time, a little bit of contemplation. If you've got a lot of energy and guilt and shame stored around this might take a little bit. If you know EFT tapping, I would highly recommend that you sit here and you tap. And when you're tapping, you just talk through this. Like, I feel so guilty about this purchase. I feel like I should have done this. I shouldn't have done this. This is what's going on. And just speak those emotions that you're feeling. And you can go to that dark space, those inner thoughts, the inner critic, give that voice when you're tapping because it's clearing that trapped emotion there. Okay. So focusing on our net worth instead of the debt payoff. We have the debt payoff strategy, not the focus. We're clearing shame, guilt. We're not going to feel guilty over our purchases in the past. And the third part here, I really want to speak and show you the difference. Like, do you know how powerful it is? How incredible is it? Like, how incredible are you as a person that you are able to spend money that you don't have? Like, what kind of magic power do you have that you were able to do that? You were able to spend $20,000, whatever the amount might be. Maybe it's more, maybe it's $100,000, maybe it's less, only $5,000, whatever it might be. And I said only, but the amount doesn't matter. What you feel inside, this big thing, this air quote mistake that you've made, think about the power in that. That you are able to receive in this amount without paying for it first. And if you're a match to receive that, wouldn't you be a match for the income? If you've received the $20,000, Why wouldn't you, like, you're a match for $20,000 in debt. Why wouldn't you be a match for $20,000 in revenue? You are. And we have to see that power that we have and those things that we are receiving, giving. And we're going to talk more about that next week, the different channels and the way that works. But think about the amazing power that you have, that you can do that. And we're spending all this time beating ourselves up over this decision. That's not going to do you any good. Look at it in the lens of your power, your success, all that you're capable of. Okay? And the final thing that I'll leave you with, it's almost like a caveat. Again, we're going to link to that, what budgeting or what debt payoff method should you use episode, so that you can check that out and see the differences, because I have some recommendations, but again, it's personalized to you and your situation. But the thing that trips up so many people is we go through this plan and we look at it and it's like, oh, it's going to take me 36 months to pay off all this debt. It's going to take me 2 years to pay off this, picking numbers. Like, it feels like it's going to take forever to get out of this debt. That's looking at it from the practical solution. If we go back to the magic and the power of, you were able to spend this money that you didn't have yet. What if you could receive in a higher amount too? What if $5,000 showed up for you tomorrow? What would that be like? Then the debt's going to go that much faster. So looking at it from, this is the tactical strategy that we're working on, but it's another layer of removing the meaning. Because if we look at this is what the numbers looks like, it's going to feel impossible. But we have to look at the strategy, do the strategy without getting attached to, like, we're going to be stuck here. We have to find that magic portion of it. What if this showed up tomorrow? And you know what? It might not. And the other part of that is not letting yourself get taken out and beating yourself up if it doesn't show up. But knowing that the magic can exist. It could happen. It doesn't have to take that long. And really, the other caveat is, if it does, like, you're going to be okay. All right, this got much more deep than I thought it would be, but this is such a passion topic for me. It's probably one of the key things that clients come to me for. And we shift for them and we see the biggest breakthroughs. So if this conversation hit home, if you are done carrying guilt for your past money decisions and you're ready to shift how you think, feel, and act around money, the next step for you is to grab the Money Mindset Playbook. It's completely free and it's designed to help you uncover some of these patterns and beliefs that keep you stuck and begin building that unstoppable relationship with money that actually feels safe and empowering. Totally focused on the money mindset work. But if you're like, Amy, that was so good. If you're ready to go deeper for ongoing support to fully rewire your financial identity, the way that we operate with the tactical strategy, the mindset work, the beliefs that we have, and then the energetics, who you are while you're doing those things, that is exactly the work that we do inside the Unstoppable Experience. You do not have to do this alone. You're not meant to do this alone. And I'd love to walk alongside with you. So grab the Money Mindset Playbook at amycirca.com/mindset, or join me inside the Unstoppable Experience. Let's work together for the next 12 months. That's going to be amycirca.com/unstoppable. Both those links are going to be in the show notes below. We'll see you next time when we're going to talk about the difference between receiving and giving and the way that we mess those up all the time as entrepreneurs. So we'll see you then.